Hello there. This is Daryl Andrews, Coach D. Decided to take some time to work from home this week and kind of working and relaxing at the same time. It's got a few things I'm sort of working through, but it's good to be here again on all my live streams, LinkedIn, Facebook, across the board. Most of it, most of the activity via Facebook, LinkedIn. So if you want to make any comments on this topic, again, if you're in Facebook, you got to go to StreamYard and make your comments there. You got to click on the link and allow yourself to make comments. So you got to give it approval. So if you're on Facebook and you want to make a comment, make sure that you go ahead and click on that so you can approve it and then you can make comments because this is going to be an interesting topic today. And what I decided to go do today is I'm going to put off all the things I'm doing today and go back to my roots. And anybody that knows me and knows the work that we've done over the years, we our root is working with young people. We started out years ago with a company by the name of FamQuest in the state of Delaware. We became one of the first minority owned businesses to get a state contract under the Department of Labor to do workforce development under what they call WIA. And within a very short period of time, we created one of the most successful youth initiatives in the country. We had phenomenal results, young people doing amazing things with their lives, making decisions and all of that with their lives. And it was just amazing. And to this day, I'm still in touch with a lot of those young people who have done some phenomenal things. So again, we had a program by the name of HYPE. HYPE was an acronym for Helping Youth Pursue Excellence. And we were a sort of a pillar a pioneer in the area of soft skills development. So we were talking about soft skills 20 years ago when there was just nobody was talking about it and how it's important to develop those soft skills for the workplace, for life. I mean, literally, we created a youth advisory council back when nobody was doing that stuff. And we wanted the input of our young people in our programs we were running in Delaware. And it was just it was a phenomenal time. So our roots are in youth. Felicia, it's good to hear from you in Chicago. It's good to see you, and hope all is well with you and Greg and family. And so today we're going to talk about something because, and it's not just one thing I always try to make sure is I don't like to just talk about things for the sake of talking about them. I like to talk about them because either I have some historical perspective or I've done something in the area that qualifies me. I don't think everyone today needs to have a voice. I just don't. Maybe I'm old school, but there's too many voices out here with people who really are just not qualified to talk about things because they don't have the historical perspective. They don't have the knowledge or insight, and they just don't know what they're talking. They're just talking. And I know that's the thing we do today, but that's not what I do. Okay. And so I want to talk about this subject, and the subject is we need to become our kids' role models, the parents and communities. And let me share with you why. One of the reasons why I want to share this. Many of you probably thinking this is related to what took place in Hollywood recently. Believe me, what took place in Hollywood is one of many things that take place in Hollywood. You know what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock is not the first time there's been anything of that magnitude in Hollywood because Hollywood is Hollywood. You know, it's about entertainment, it's about show, it's about staging, it's about all kinds of stuff. So I don't, that is what it is. But what I'm looking at just as a whole today, all right, and we will talk about Hollywood as well, but we need to become our kids' role models. And let me tell you a quick story. I had a chance to speak in a little town called Laredo, Texas, many years ago. I used to do a lot of programs for an organization called Gear Up. Gear Up is a college access program for first generation kids. So I literally presented hundreds of Gear Up sites throughout the United States, and I mean, in just about every state. And so we were speaking to a Gear Up program down there, and we did a process that I'm going to share with you in just a few moments called passion mapping. And with passion mapping, what we do is we help young people map out their passions, what their passions are, their strategies for it. So it's just not a bunch of motivation; it's actually strategy, a workshop that we do that we've done hundreds of times all throughout the country, empowering young people to find their passions and put a plan together. Right. And so I mean, we were doing this. I mean, literally, I mean, there were years we were doing like 100 of these workshops, throughout the country for different organizations. And so I've recently been approached to kind of bring it back because we're kind of in that phase of doing it again. And so I'm starting to rethink this, and there's people who've been reaching out. So we'll see where we go with it. But beyond that, when I was in Laredo, there's a process of our passion mapping process that when we talk about possible role models, when we look at career interest and things of that nature, and also specific passions, in other words, things that they're passionate about. To my surprise, the majority of the kids in that town wanted careers that they saw locally. They wanted to be like their mom or their dad or the judge or, the teacher, you know, and that's what they were interested in. And then when you ask them through the process of mapping who are their potential role models, it was the same thing. I think we did somewhere around three passion mapping workshops. Not one kid mentioned a celebrity, not one. And I was shocked by that because typically when we do these workshops, that's all kids talk about. They want to be like a celebrity. So a basketball player, football player, rapper, a singer, something like that. And I said, man, what is it about this town that the kids want to be like the local people? But then I noticed something. Even with like the passion mapping workshops we were doing, the local town showed up. You had people coming from, the different businesses and people coming from the political scene just to come in and say hi to the kids and introduce themselves to me. And I said, that's what it is. They have a lot of engagement with their local community. I did a presentation in the town, again, using text, like I'm just talking about Texas, but I think that they've kind of figured something out here. Um, this town called Eagle Pass, Texas. And we did a presentation to a bunch of young people. And it was literally almost like a who's who because we were speaking to about 500 young people, but the whole town, it's like the whole town showed up. I mean, the mayor, the police chief, everybody was there. And they knew these kids. It wasn't like they knew them from a distance, they knew them personally, you see. And so I come to realize that, you know, that is a tremendous model of success for young people to be able to want to emulate people that they know, you know. And I asked myself the question, why do so many kids today want to imitate people they don't know, people they have no interaction with? If you understand what I mean, type something in the chat feature if you're watching this and understand what I mean. Why is it that they don't look at, their parents or look at their aunt and uncles and look at their cousins? And sometimes they do. I'm not trying to stereotype all kids, but you know, but there's a lot of them that don't really like, they just look at other people and that's who they want to be like. So today we're going to talk about it because there's a few piece suggestions I want to give because I've had a chance to travel literally all over the country, just literally millions of young people. I'm an author of several books. A lot of people don't even know this. My best-selling book is entitled The Purpose Living Teen, a teen's guide to living your dreams. We've sold thousands of those books all over the country, and the response from young people has just been amazing, absolutely amazing. And then one of my early books was entitled Believe in the Hype, Seven Keys to Motivating the Students of Color. Dr. Juanza Kanjufu wrote the foreword for that book, and educators all over the country were using that book as a tool to be able to better engage young people of color in their classrooms and in their school buildings. And so we've been all over the country doing programs. I mean, there were, like I said, there were years I was doing 75 to 100 student assemblies in schools, all literally all over the country. Um, so I just want to let you know we're not just saying this. We've been there, and we've done, let's say, been there, done that. All the states, and I have had my kids with me as well. And one of the pictures here, you see my daughter Sophia. She and I were in Washington, working with a bunch of kids out there. She was only about 12 years old in this picture, and all my boys have been out as well. And yeah, I think one of these pictures here, I'm in Oklahoma doing some work with the young folks. The matter of fact, and the one to your to my left here would be in Oklahoma. We did a pretty large scale passion mapping workshop for about 500 young people who were part of the workforce program in Oklahoma. Matter of fact, we're going to be back out there this year because they invited me out to come work with their kids again. So we're looking forward to that. You know, and so what I want to talk about just for a moment is that we need to start thinking as families in our community. We need to be the role models. We need to say, hey, you know what? I wanna step up to the plate. schools should not have to go find role models. We should have people volunteering to do it. And people should say, I want to go take my knowledge and insight to a school, to a college campus, sit down, have conversations with the kids, and talk to them about the young people and talk to them about your career, your journey, things of that nature. It was just really something. I remember one year we did a project for a school district in Pennsylvania. I think it was the Southeast Delco School District, where we helped them pull together this role modeling initiative where every week there were role models coming into the schools every week and talking to I think it was a sixth or seventh grade class. I can't remember, but and it was really something because it had a very positive impact on the kids. To every week see somebody locally right in their own neighborhood. I remember one time we got one of the guys who was the manager at Acme, and he came in. He was actually a really good speaker, and he just talked about being a manager and managing people and how he climbed the ranks at Acme. And kids were asking him all kinds of questions, local, right in their own neighborhood. It was just something special. I mean, I try to do the same with my kids. My kids, obviously, my work is unique because I'm a speaker and a trainer and a coach and consultant. So my kids have watched me over the years and have traveled with me. And as a result, doors have opened for them to do things. My daughter was a keynote speaker for the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals conference in Chicago um, last December, and my son Daryl has done quite a few of these what we call superhero projects to middle school students, helping them identify superheroes, and they're the superhero and how to use their superpowers to make a difference. It was just powerful. He's a graduate of one of the top art schools in the country, Ringling College of Art and Design. My daughter Sophia is a global scholar at American University, and as many of you know, the founder of Ngoma Kenya, which is a nonprofit helping orphans in Nairobi. But it's just something to see these kids on stage because they've traveled with me so much. That's just what they've seen. So as parents, like, do we talk to our kids about our careers? Like, do we just come home and interact? Are you saying this is what I do? This is how I do it? And again, not just parents, but aunts and uncles. You see, we just sometimes we think it's just raising kids, but we do need to do more than that. We need to have conversations with them, talk to them about what we do. Because if not, all they're going to hear all day long is LeBron, Steph. These names are just all the time. Then they're going to look at everybody's feeds on Facebook, and that's all everybody else going to be talking about. So, it's amazing. I go to schools and I do an assembly, and it's like 60% of the kids will say they want to be a singer, a rapper, something like that. It just amazes me, and it's just like, we need to say, hey, there's other opportunities out here, and they don't have to necessarily look at somebody that's famous in order to achieve what it is they want to achieve. And so my hope is, and here's a picture mentioned speaking at Eagle Pass. This was the Career Expo last year. We presented there. That was the first time they've had a live presentation since COVID hit, and it really went well. I was excited to see how the young folks responded. And so, as you talk about challenges and problems, you also need to talk about solutions. And so, just some few things to think about. This one I'm about to share. I'm telling you, it's one that really gets me. And I just got to be honest. It really gets me to see how we adults just laud over success stories. Like if we're in a school, or if we're in a community, or if we're in an organization, we more gaga than the kids are. If we know somebody that's famous and we know what they're doing, we will post and post on Facebook because our kids watch this. Instagram, pop up, so and so went to my school, so and so lived in my neighborhood, so and so. And everybody's going crazy and gaga. And that kid is watching, saying, man, nobody's doing it over me. Nobody seems to care about who I am in my future. And so what do? So when you go do an assembly and you ask kids what do they want to do? Well, then 50% of them, 60% of them want to be pro ball players, or they want to be singers. Because why? We adults are the worst because we spend more time I don't know if because we want people to know we know these folks, talking about these people we know more than the kids do. And I'm like, wow, man, wouldn't it be nice if we can be speaking of and post about kids who go to college, the military, or land employment right after school? Show them that we're proud of them too. Now, one thing I do like is a lot of schools are doing this signing to go, like they're doing school signings to go into engineering. I like that. That's good because it used to just be the big signing was when kids go to play sports. And to be honest with you, you wonder why kids want to play sports. We make so much of a big deal of the kids who play sports. And then, then they see it on TV and all of that. So, but you know what? There's people who've done well who've gone to college and gotten careers. There's people who've done well who've gone to the military. There's people who've done extremely well going straight into employment. I have friends I grew up with that never went to college and went straight into employment and to this day are doing very well. Well, saved their money early, got started in life early, made some investments, and doing okay. All right. But you won't see anybody post anything on anything about them because that's just not what we do. So now let me clarify. I'm not trying to say we got post become post crazy about every kid, but I'm saying every now and then just show our kids that the little things count. It always have to be a big thing. Bring local role models into their presence as much as possible. It's great to be able to for our kids to see people. That's one thing I loved about when the speaking and training. It felt like I was a role model, and based upon the response I was, when I was done, they had questions on top of questions. Some of it was heart wrenching, to be honest with you, because some of the kids had some real traumatic situations going on in their life, and you're like, man, wish I could help. Matter of fact, a few I did. It's one young lady I won't go into details that we spoke, and fortunately our words literally saved this girl's life because she was thinking about taking her own life. And when I found out I canceled my flight to the next location and stayed there and gave the school district, the school principal said, "Listen, bring somebody into so we can deal with this right now." And they brought in a local pastor and his wife, and we talked to this girl, and she said she was a foster care and she had some challenges and things like that, and she'd been going through some. She didn't know who her family was or who her family was, and she was wearing the same clothes for the last, and kids teasing her. So I just took some money and I said, "Here, go buy this girl several outfits and just mentor her, just be with her and help her out." And surely enough, they did. And then found out a few years later that they stayed with her, got her going. She going into college and got on the course for life. You see, and that's what it's all about, man. It's not just about what we do, it's what we do, what others can do as a result of our lives that counts. And being a role model is an important part of that. All right. So schools should open up the doors and let people come in, like especially, quality, people that's just gonna be respectful. You know what I mean? And let the kids see role models in their own local communities and even organizations, because we did it with our hype program, helping youth pursue excellence program. We were bringing speakers to speak to our kids right in the local community. Okay. And then also have youth develop plans and expose them to people who have succeeded in the area of passion. I remember my son Daryl was younger. We spent a lot of time studying Walt Disney. We would look at Walt Disney and Walt Disney stories and others who, Charles Schultz and people who in arts like he was and is, and just talk about them, have conversations. So if you see your kid has an interest or kids in your school have interest, maybe talk to them about certain people that that have accomplished what they're looking to do, because the kids, young folks, may not even know about these people unless you bring the attention to them. Okay. And again, this is local stuff, local. Okay. And one thing, like we talk about passion mapping, this is one of the favorite things we've ever done in my work. I mean, we do some neat stuff over the years now. Why did this go there? I'm sorry. Um, I love what I do now. We're helping organizations and corporations and businesses, and I love that. But this is one of my favorite things. We do passion mapping, these workshops. We need to help young folks really connect to their passions. Like I'll give you one for example. When we do the workshops, they're pretty high energy, and we bring them alive, and we're typically doing these in schools, but during the summer, during summer programs, things like that, we do it quite a bit, or even on college campuses, we do it. But um, we help them identify their passions. We call affinities. All right. And then it's the way it's done. It's kind of like a circle diagram with extensions and bubbles. You know how it is when you have it like that, like you're doing a diagram. And they say, and many times you ask young people in the program, what do you want to do? And they'll say sports. And I love when I hear that because we know they're going to say it. And so we say, okay, put sports in the middle of your passion map. And then we'll ask them, what are some of the careers that you could pursue if you like sports? Now, I'm going to tell you something that's really a tragedy. 80% of them will say athlete. Then you ask them what else, they have no answers. So that means that we're not helping them bridge the gap. We're not talking to these young people about what what are career possibilities. And so what we talk about is we'll say, hey, you know what? How do athletes sign contract? Who's the person that negotiates that? Then they'll kick in. Oh, a sports agent. Then we'll say, oh yeah, do you know the sports agents get on average 10%, 15% of that athlete's contract? And then what you have is 90% of the kids want to be sports agents by the time we're done with them with these programs. But then we say, hey, who are those people speaking up in those sports, like when they're up in the sports booths talking and commenting on the game? They say, oh yeah, sports commentators. Yeah, they get paid too. When an athlete gets injured, what is it that they well, what is it that they who helps them? Oh, a doctor. Okay, what kind of doctor? Sports medicine, therapy. You see, by the time we get done, we're talking about marketing, sports merchandising, and these young people are now thinking, "Wow, I didn't even know what all these careers in sports." And then when we get them there, we talk about, okay, you got some relevant academics. If you're going to be a sports agent, you got to know how to communicate, right? You get better now know to add and subtract, you know. And then we talk about that, and then we talk about possible college majors again, using sports again and sports agent. They don't typically know because nobody's ever told them. So we tell them, sports management, law. A lot of agents are in law. I'm just using agent, but there could be many others here. And then possible role models. And we say you can Google search role models in the field and study their lives, read their stories, things like that. You don't need to know them. All right. Now, this is different with passion mapping. Like what I'm telling us as a group of people, we need to be there for them. But sometimes these folks don't have to. They can just be somebody we study. Like Daryl never had a chance to meet Walt Disney, but he learned from him. All right. He learned from him. And so, I'm going to leave you with the point here this that we need to help our young people see their lives for their own potential, man. I've been saying this for 25 years, and we've helped thousands of young people make that connection. But the reality is, we have to be the ones, you see, because I will say one thing about Hollywood. I'm tired of people saying things like, for instance, when this whole thing went down with Will Smith and Chris Rock, that, that was such a bad example to our kids and all of that. I get that. But Will Smith is one person. All right. He's one person. I know he's a big name person, but he is not the example of character for our entire country and for our entire race. What he did was his own axe to grind, his own challenge. You know what I mean? And all of that. So we got to stop looking at all these big names. We should be the role models. Let us be the example. So when they see that, they can see that's just Hollywood. That's what they do out there. Not saying everybody go around smacking folks, but it's all about pomp and circumstance and about creating noise and buzz and all that kind of stuff, man. Most of us are just average, everyday people, man, living our lives and trying to do the best we can. So I hope that our young people can start having more people in their lives that can help them see that part and not so much get so focused on TikTok and Instagram and all these people popping stuff out. Even the influencers there. It's okay to admire these people, but we should be able to know there's a place where we need to draw the line and say, you know what, that's crazy, man. No, no, you don't need to. That's not your role model. Charles Barkley had that right when he said that I'm not your kid's role model, and we should be the role models to our own kids, to our community. That's one thing I do every time I get a chance to mentor. I mentor, and many people out there know. Some of you know, even adults, I mentor because I realize that my life is not only as significant as the lives I'm able to impact. If not, it's all a bunch of noise. That's all it really is. If it's all about me, it's all about noise. It's just noise. But when other people are able to do things because of your life, that's when you really start leaving legacy and creating legacy. So if you have any questions, reach out to me at coachdspeaks.com. I would love to get your comments in the chat feature as far as what you think of what you just heard. We got to start realizing we're the ones. Be just like those kids in Laredo, Texas. We're the ones, the local community, the business owners, the teachers, the educators, the college professors. You can then go on any position. We're the ones that should be the greatest example to our young people, not some celebrity that doesn't even know their name. All right. That's what I'm hoping that we can spend a better time focusing our energy. And as parents, that should come without saying. Every day we should do our best to model what our kids what we want them to see in life and do in life. And so that's all I got for you today. This is just something I want to put out there because I care so much about these young people. I've been doing this for a long time. Didn't do it for fame, glory, or anything else. Didn't do it to get rich. There's many other things you can do to get rich. Okay, besides trying to inspire young people. But the reality is, it's all about trying to use our life to make a difference and help one or two or three or four young people make a difference in their lives, so they can continue to be an example of what we're trying to provide for them with our own. That's all I got for you today. Hope all is well. Take care. Bye bye.